Hit the shower. Grab your coffee. And get ready to attack the weekend with Charlie Uczen. Hit the shower. Grab your coffee. And get ready to attack the weekend with Charlie Uczen and Jack Pembroke as they catch you up on everything Wisconsin sports you may have missed this past week. All before you even finish your breakfast. It's Wisconsin Sports Weekend, brought to you by the Apollo Cafe on Brady Street. 25 years of Greek tradition. Enjoy gyros, souvlaki, fresh salads, and the legendary Zeus burger. Dine in, take out, or get it delivered. Apollo Cafe, Milwaukee's Greek superstar of flavor, on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
I have fat fingers, Jack. My hand kind of slipped there a little bit. It's been a long week running this board up here, you know.
You've been an Irish mule.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. You know, that's a compliment.
It is from my
Irish,
people to yours.
Exactly. Other people may not agree sometimes. It is Wisconsin Sports Weekend, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. I am Charlie Uczen. That is Jack Pembroke over there, like the big voice lady just said. And thank you guys so much for this past week. Like I said, we've been working so hard, Jack and I and Sparky and everybody else here at the station. It's been a really cool opportunity for us to just be a part of the 19th annual toy drive for Children's Wisconsin and Robin's Nest out there at the Oak Creek Blaines Farm and Fleet. It was an awesome experience. Jack was there 100 billion hours this past week, just getting everything set up.
Hey,
for
it did not
everybody.
feel like that. It's great to help kids that, you know, are spending the holidays in the hospital. And it's even better to see kids and their families helping those families out.
You know, it was really just a cool experience hearing from all the different people that from Children's Wisconsin that joined Steve Sparky Fight from Wisconsin Sports Daily, that joined 9 to Noon with Rami Makloff and John Kuhn over there, joined with Mason Crosby and Mitch Thunder Nellis. Mason Crosby was at the toy drive on Monday. It was just a really cool experience. Again, it's always awesome for that event to get as much love as it got. Steve Wilding and the Food Responders food truck that was out there. I took home a bunch of mac and cheese last night, and I think I ate 2 whole boxes.
Oh my God. I know Mike Wilding personally, and he hooked me up with a cart of meatballs. And oh, did you have those mac and cheese with the different types of pulled meat?
I had it with the buffalo chicken, and it was phenomenal.
It is
phenomenal. Great
food.
Awesome. It was a great time. Shout out to everybody that donated. Shout out to my dad. He was out there yesterday donating a bunch of toys. I love you very much, Dad. Thank you very much for helping out with this event here. Again, everybody else that came out donated cars loads of toys, 1 to 2 toys. No matter how much you donated, thank you so much. The $1 online versus the $200 online. No matter what it was, thank you so much for helping out. On Monday, Sparky will put out the video of the recap of them loading up the truck and getting all the toys shipped out. 2 children's, and again, just making the days, making the lives of a lot of these kids that are in the hospital right now and don't get to have that normal life that we all get to have and see the presents under the tree. This gives them the opportunity to feel like a little bit of normalcy.
Just normalcy, yeah.
Coming back to their lives.
Exactly. And we filled an 18-wheeler, Charlie.
And we're going to double stack it too.
Yep. Oh, there's some double stacks coming.
Filled the entire bottom level of the truck, which is usually what they do. Now, this year, they have to put like 6 more boxes on top of the other boxes because there are so many boxes going out to charity. It's a really awesome event. Again, thank you all so much for being out there and helping out. Thank you, Jack, for, again, getting everything set up fantastically. And you know what? Pat myself on the back. I ran the board back here.
Charlie, you, Tommy, and I, we're the minions behind the scenes, and we make it happen.
I like that. I don't know if I like being called a minion.
Gremlins.
Okay, Gremlins a little better. You know, I'll take that. Like I said, it is Wisconsin Sports Weekend, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and we are presented by Apollo Cafe, Milwaukee's Greek superstar flavor, right there on historic Brady Street. Got a great show for you guys today, talking about the toy drive. You're going to hear from Matt Arnold at 10 a.m. He was on with Sparky this past Wednesday. It was an awesome interview. I thought you guys should hear at least a little bit of it. Definitely worth your time listening to the guy who runs the Milwaukee Brewers right now. As usual, we got the Warlocks Locks at 10:20 and the Wisconsin Sports Weekend Pub Crawl at 10:40. In the first hour here, we're going to dive into what Jordan Love needs to do to be in that MVP top 2 seat. Right now, he's in that top 5 in a lot of people's minds. What does he need to do to jump forward, especially after Dak Prescott kind of disappointed on Thursday night against the Detroit Lions? We are also going to dive into this Giannis Antetokounmpo injury. It seems like he's going to be out for the long term of this injury, according to Doc Rivers. So we want to know, who are you most excited to see on this team? But first, we are going to start off heading back to the Green Bay Packers versus the Chicago Bears this weekend. Jack, going into the season, were you expecting this game, the next 2 games against the Chicago Bears, to be as anticipated as it is right now?
I thought at least the Packers would need, a win from this next 2 out of 3 week matchup. When I looked at the board, I thought the Packers would be in position to be, might have been famished, but I thought we were going to go 2-0 against the Lions. And like we said last week, if they win that game, they can kind of really control the next step to destiny, where they want to go deep in the playoffs, get that number 1 seed, have people come to Lambeau. So I thought that would kind of be the storyline going into weeks like this for the Packers. I've got to admit, I did not think your Bears were going to be bearing down still this far into the season.
I don't think I expected that. I don't think most Chicago Bears fans expected them to be bearing down like you're talking about over there. This team has way overexceeded expectations than I think many people had set for them at the beginning of the season. 9 wins was about what I expected the Bears to get in general throughout the season, not already through 11 weeks.
I think it's a testament to Ben Johnson. As much as it pains me as a Packer fan to admit this, I can sense when other players on other teams, where, we might not like the Bears, but I can tell when coaching is good. I can tell when athletes are good. He quickly enough, I don't remember the last time a new coach took over a team with a young quarterback who's been through 3 different systems, was this successful. And their offense, I mean, there's lots of movement in it. It looks good at times when it's all kind of coming together. I did not think the Bears were going to be a threat for A, the NFC North, or B, the 1 seed in the NFC.
Yeah, the NFC in general. I mean, at this point, I know a lot of people still don't believe in them, even after the drudging of the Philadelphia Eagles that they had last weekend on Black Friday.
We'll see this Sunday. I think, the NFL is a prove it league, right? You're only,
especially nowadays.
Yeah, you're only as good as your last win. Mm-hmm. And that was a pretty good win in my book. Look, do I feel confident it's in Lambeau? Do I feel confident it's going to be cold? Yeah, I think the series could get split at each home field. I think that gives each of those teams an advantage. Bears fans travel well, but it's in Lambeau. I feel like what's happening with the Packers right now is they're really starting to meld. We're getting healthy on the offense where we need to be. But it's going to be a close game. I always flinch a little bit when I hear Sparky like, we're going to win by 14 points. And I get worried at that because I think he's 0-2 when he this year on picks.
Said that against the Panthers.
Yeah.
He said that against the Browns.
Yeah. So I was right next to him when he said it to you on your weekly show, Wisconsin Sports Daily.
I told him to watch it then too. I said, this is a situation where the entire league, you've seen this parity kind of come to life across both the NFC and the AFC. I know the NFC seems a lot more potent right now than the AFC does, but at the same time, I still feel like a 5-5 Chiefs team, and this may be because Nick Wright keeps saying it on Fox Sports 1, but like they still feel like a threat even sitting at 5-5. They still feel like a team that is good enough to beat anybody in the league given any given Sunday.
They're a team that can catch lightning in a bottle. And there are some teams like that you don't want to leave around. Kind of like my fantasy team when it started off 0-3. You don't want to see me if I start getting some wins. But I do think NFC North is the best league. And I, as a Bears Packer rivalry lover, it's the best thing that could happen right now. You know how dead this rivalry felt for like the last decade.
Yes, Jack,
for you?
I know how dead
okay,
this rivalry
good.
felt.
You were alive.
It was yelling at clouds, basically. Bears fans yelling at Packers fans saying, "Oh, we got you this time, or we're gonna get you this time." And Packers were like, "Okay, good job, guys. Yeah, you try really hard." This is a situation where I think this is for the first time in a long time, and I talked about this with Sparky on Wisconsin Sports Daily, that it doesn't feel like the Bears fans are excited because the other team is doing something wrong. I feel like Bears fans got so excited when Brett Favre left. They got so excited when Aaron Rodgers left. They got so excited when Aaron Rodgers got hurt that one year because they were just, this is the time that the Bears can now take over and take.
This was the Bears Super Bowl for the last couple of years.
This is the first time where it's not because the Packers are doing bad that people are excited about the Bears. It's because the Bears are just playing good. Like this is, it feels so weird being excited about that. The last time I can think of that is 2018 when the double doink happened and you had all this situation of just being so frustrated with that organization for so long, and now all of a sudden it's resulting in wins. That's how it feels now for this Bears team. And the Packers on the other side of things, yeah, I think you can go into this game with that mentality of we are still the big brother. This is still our little brother. We can still go in there and be like, oh, you guys need to stop talking. We're not going to talk garbage because we're better than that, like Michael Parsons is saying.
But little brother is like, if we're big brother, maybe we're a 6'3". Yeah, he might be getting 6 feet and he's just in 8th grade. So like you've got to be like, oh man, I got to actually bring my A game next time.
This is a situation where I think this game specifically, this first game in the season series for the Bears and Packers, and then going into that second game, this is the tone setter for, I think, the rest of the season, the finale of the season for one of these two teams.
Can I make a prediction?
Sure.
Whoever wins this first one probably takes the first seed in the NFC and probably catches fire to go deep.
All right. I like to hear that. You know,
there's a 50-50 chance. You're saying there's a chance.
Team or the team that I work talking for.
Hey, we get to talk deeper into January. You know, I'm fine with that.
We are Wisconsin Sports Weekend, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. And we are asking you, with the Packers and Bears playing on Sunday in a primetime afternoon game, is this the most important game of the regular season for both of these teams? One of these teams? Which of these two teams is it more important to? Answer that on the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line 414-677-1250. Again, 414-677-1250, 1250. To get on the show that way, again, you can text or call that, or we are live streaming on YouTube, at Twitter, at WI Sports Radio. You can find us on there. The mime over there is stuck in his little box. What's funny is he's like in a little box on the screen. That's one he's pretending to be in, but then he's in like just a little bit bigger of a box.
I call it the hockey penalty box. Maybe we need to reach out to the Admirals and get sponsoring for just the room name.
That's a good idea.
Let's name it penalty box.
I like that. See, this is why he's the idea man over there. We are asking you again, is this the most important game for the Bears and Packers, both of those teams this week? Just one of those teams. Who's it more important to you in your mind? At WI Sports Radio on all social medias. You can respond to us on there as well. Jack, I'm going to ask you this question. Now the question that I just asked the listeners. Going into this game on Sunday, is this the most important game of the season for both these teams? And then, again, is this game, if it is the most important game of the season, did you expect that prior to the season?
So 2 quick answers. I think it's the biggest game this rivalry has seen in the last decade. I was at the 201st win where the Packers took the lead. I remember a young Devontae Adams catching a lot of balls that day, but I think the teams are definitely built differently now. Packers are a little bit more run-centric first and then like to open up those deep balls and crossing routes. I think, man, I really would hate if the Packers lose at home because I know that then we're outside looking and we're still probably, both these teams are still probably going to make the playoffs. So don't freak out. And I think the other thing for both of these sides of the coin to remember is you got a second punch in 2 weeks down in Chicago. So it's not like the pinnacle, like whoever wins this is going to get the second win. There's going to be another shot. It's kind of has the feeling of an old school 90s, 2000s boxing matchup where there's going to be a second bout no matter what.
I kind of like that comparison. This is a situation where you just feel like both of these teams, like you said, are heavy hitters at this point and are going to go in there with this expectation of being playoff teams. Let's take a look at the current playoff standings as it sits right now. The Chicago Bears are the number 1 seed in the NFC, and the Green Bay Packers are sitting at the 6th seed. In between them, you have the Los Angeles Rams at 2, the Philadelphia Eagles at 3, Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 4, Seattle Seahawks at 5, and right behind them is the San Francisco Giants with the 7th seed. If you take a look at the rest of the NFC playoff picture, there's a lot of teams that still have an opportunity to fight for a playoff spot, and that if when one of these two teams lose, I guess they could tie again. That's something that is a possibility.
Charlie, please knock on wood right now.
If the Bears and Packers tie, is that like
no,
more disappointing than like a blowout game in your mind?
Yes. I would actually like go for a long run in this winter right now just to calm down.
But if we take a look at the rest of the playoff standings right now, I mean, you still have Dallas, who's alive. They're 6-1. That's going to be a team fighting for a playoff spot, especially if they can get hot for the rest of the season. That loss to Detroit really hurts them on Thursday. But then the Lions are 8-5, sitting right there, potentially fighting for a playoff spot at this point. I mean, Carolina's sitting at 7-6. They're not completely out of this.
They've been another team that might have hit puberty.
You have 3 teams in the hunt right now, and whoever is second place in the NFC North is sitting at that 6th seed at this moment. That's a situation where I think this is probably a huge game for one of these two teams. How close the NFC is with 9 teams or 10 teams in this situation that
for
are
7 spots
that are all playing for those 7 spots at this moment. It's something where I don't think you can afford to lose any game like this, especially to a playoff team this season. Looking at how these teams have done versus the playoff field at this moment, the Green Bay Packers have only played 1 total game against a playoff team so far. This is a situation where they have to go out there and prove that they can take out playoff teams, because when they did play that one playoff team, the Philadelphia Eagles, they got outclassed. And it was a game where the Eagles didn't even look that good themselves.
They looked JV to varsity there.
Exactly. Yeah. It was a situation where you have to go out here and make a statement, more so than I think people are giving them the credit for. A lot of people want to say this is the Bears game to win. They want to go out there and have all this energy behind them. The Packers just need to do their thing and stay cool and calm. At the same time, this game needs to matter to the Green Bay Packers too, beyond it just being a rivalry game. This has implications later on in the season that I don't think people are giving it credit.
Okay, I like that you brought up implications, because I know I texted you about this little idea. This is my ADD tangent from this, and why we'll have some skin in the game here. I will wear a Devin Hester jersey next week if the Packers lose, and you, because I won this at our company party, get to wear this beautiful Micah Parsons jersey if they lose.
Deal. I'm down for that. I got my Beans hat that matches with the Packers jersey, so it's perfect. So as we move forward here and look at what this game could potentially mean for a team like the Green Bay Packers, this is a situation, again, that I think they can firmly put themselves into the top team in the NFC, a situation where they could be the top team in the NFL. They can go out here and dominate the Chicago Bears. I think this is a squad that is super young and hungry at this moment, but isn't ready to compete at that higher level in Chicago. And because of that, the Green Bay Packers, despite being one of the younger teams in the league, is also in a situation where this is a game where they can prove themselves as one of those top teams. Let's head on over to the Nicolay Law Talk and text line. My guy, Brian in South Milwaukee. Brian, how are you doing today, my man?
Hey, guys. Not bad. I think, as a Packer fan, I think it's more important for the Packers just because of the situation. They traded for Micah Parsons, so they've kind of pushed the chips to the middle of the table. The Bears, first-year coach, really no expectations much coming into the season, so they're pretty much playing with house money. If I'm the Bears, I'm playing loose and free, and whatever happens. And give them credit. They got, they looked terrible in their first 2 games, and they've really righted the ship and got it together the rest of the season. So I think, it is important for Green Bay, and I think Green Bay needs to win at least 3 of their next 5 games in order to win the division.
So, Brian, we're sitting in a situation here, in my mind, where the Chicago Bears, yes, they don't have the same kind of expectations that the Packers do going into the season, but the NFL at this moment, I think professional sports to some degree, is very much a catch of the lightning in a bottle type of league, where you need to, if you are hot, try to take that momentum and turn it into a championship as quickly as possible. The Bears have only been to 2 Super Bowls in their lifetime, and they only won 1 of them. This is a situation where I think this game still matters a lot to them, almost equally as the Packers, even though their expectations weren't the same before the season.
I'm going to lean in with Brian here, though.
Yeah, it does. You're right about that. You have to catch lightning in a bottle. You look at Detroit. People thought Detroit was going to be there hammering year after year, and this year they've taken a step back. And in some ways, I almost think that 2 years ago when they had San Francisco on the ropes in San Francisco and they lost that opportunity, that was a huge missed opportunity for Detroit right there. Just like it was a huge missed opportunity for Green Bay when they were in a couple of those NFC championship games early on in LaFleur's career.
Exactly, Brian. And the way I feel as a Packer fan is I do kind of lean towards what you're saying is you got to be able to win at home right now, especially kind of going with what Charlie's saying is that Detroit Lions second win this year, that team last year could not have done that. And we seem to be maturing, but we're going to have to take that W at home. Otherwise, I'm a little bit nervous going into the Bronco game.
Yeah, the one thing that concerns me, obviously, is Wyatt getting hurt and being able to stop the run. Fortunately, they were able to sign a big guy, so hopefully he can maybe bring a little bit of something. And they're getting some of their weapons back.
Exactly.
So that certainly helps, too.
Sure.
Reed is going to be back. He played a big part in that offense early on, and I think they missed that ability to go over the middle because they, now that Kraft is out, they don't really have anybody to do that.
Exactly. Brian, thanks for calling in, my man. Do not be a stranger.
You bet. And go UW Wisconsin Division III teams. There's 3 of them in the Division III playoffs.
Yes, sir. Whitewater, Platteville, and La Crosse, right?
We're going to bring that up during the pub crawl.
River Falls.
That's right.
Falls, Platteville, and La Crosse. Yeah.
That's right.
River Falls is a juggernaut this year. So
awesome.
We'll see.
I played River Falls in my time playing college football, and they were a beast of a team. Thanks for calling, Brian. Don't be a stranger. That was Brian in South Milwaukee. Let's go from one Brian to another Brian. Brian in McGuanago, you are on Wisconsin Sports Weekend. Who is this game more important to in your mind, the Bears or the Packers?
Well, I think it's definitely more important to the Packers just for logistics alone with the big trades they pushed across the table. But there's no team in NFL history that's been as lucky, as fortunate as the Bears. They're 6 games over 500. Their point differential is 6.
Mm-hmm.
If that's not a walking fraud, I don't know what is.
Crazy.
The Packer differential is plus 68. There's teams even higher than that, and some teams are plus 160. The Bears are riding a very fine line, and it's just going to take them to get knocked out by a touchdown or 2 this weekend, and they got an extremely tough schedule the next 3 or 4 weeks. Caleb Williams is not going to carry that team anywhere. Last week, and it's been like that all year, he's 15 for 31 for 151 yards. No quarterback's going to win a Super Bowl passing for 151 yards and below 500 for the game. Passing attempts to completions. Definitely they're got a better quarterback. Does Caleb Williams have his moments? Oh, yeah, all quarterbacks have their moments. But consistently, the key to this game, if the Packers keep the Bears from running under 100 yards, they're going to win this game easy.
Yeah,
if they let the Bears run for 200 yards like Philadelphia did, they're just going to eat up the clock. The Packer offense will never get on the field.
Yeah, Brian, I agree with you. We got to stop the run early and often in the first 2 quarters, and if we're able to force Caleb,
the first quarter,
and then you force Caleb to get into the shotgun, and then you're able to release Micah Parsons on him, and that puts the pressure on the Bears early. That's the
don't forget the corners blitzing either. Evan Williams and those guys.
Yeah.
I think if you put Caleb Williams in a panic situation, the Bears are toast.
Yeah,
they look good now, but anybody look good if you run for 200. St. Catherine's High School look good if they run for 200.
That's a good point there, Brian. Thanks for calling in, my man. Don't be a stranger.
I won't.
All right, there he is, Brian in McGuanago. He brings up a really good point there, I think, as well, with bringing the blitzes with the defensive backs. Now, he said corner blitzes. I don't know if you can really afford to do corner blitzes at this time. You don't have the same kind of pass rush.
Roma Dunze would be burning people.
Well, and Rome's not playing in this game.
No, I know.
Luckily for the Packers, this is a situation where he's going to be out for this one. But at the same time, if you're bringing the cornerbacks and more than just Evan Williams at points, because I think Evan Williams has been playing great down in the box, you can't just do it blindly right in front of Ben Johnson. You have to be able to disguise those blitzes. You have to be able to find ways to sneak those in and mix them in with different coverages for this defense to the point where this team can't figure it out. Ben Johnson's a very smart coach. Caleb Williams, while most people would, I think, disagree from watching him in his 1 year and a half, he is a very smart quarterback. He knows how to escape out of pressure if he needs to. He knows how to find open wide receivers. It's about getting the ball to them that is sometimes the problem for him. He overthrows a lot. He has these moments where he maybe holds on to the ball too much, but he knows what he's seeing. I think with this team, this is a situation where the Green Bay Packers, if they can go out there and fluster him without showing everything on the table, they can win this football game pretty handedly. The problem is the Packers don't have the personnel to do that all the time.
It's going to be really cold. So we know both teams are going to try and rely on the run early. And it's really going to come down to whose run game is clicking the best early. And then that'll open up those pass plays in the second and third quarter. So it's really whose run defense is going to show up early.
It is Wisconsin Sports Weekend live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook and presented by Apollo Cafe, Milwaukee's Greek superstar flavor, right there on historic Brady Street. I am Charlie Uczen. That's Jack Pembroke over there. When we come back, we're going to dive into some Milwaukee Bucks stock. But if you wanted to get in on this topic, who is this game more important to? Is this the most important game of the season for both of these teams? You can still call in on the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line 414-677-1250. Again, 414-677-1250, or on WI Sports Radio, live streaming on YouTube and Twitter right at this moment. Again, this is Wisconsin Sports Weekend. I'm Charlie Uczen. That's Jack Pembroke. We will be right back.
Hey, hey, hey.
That was pretty good,
Yeah.
Jack. Maybe don't ever do it again, though. It is Wisconsin Sports Weekend live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. I'm Charlie Uczen, that's Jack Pembroke, and we are presented by Apollo Cafe, Milwaukee's Greek superstar flavor, right there on historic Brady Street. If you guys are just tuning in, you missed us talk about the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears in the first segment there, and their big matchup coming up on Sunday. We wanted to know which one you think it's more important to. Is this the most important game of the season for both of these teams? You can still hit us up at WI Sports Radio on social media and answer that question on there. But we did want to transition into a little bit of Milwaukee Bucks talk. I know there's been lots of it this week. I know lots of people, including Steve Sparky Pfeiffer from Wisconsin Sports Daily, have been real angry at Giannis Antetokounmpo and this whole situation with him maybe wanting a trade, maybe not wanting a trade. Brian Windhorst likes to go out there and say both of those things just for fun. He went out and reported that, hey, guys, Giannis already asked for a trade. He asked for it this summer, which we already knew. Again, I don't know why people are freaking out about this. This whole situation with the Knicks was already reported on by Shams, by Windhorst, talking about how Giannis had said if he were to be traded, those were the exact words, if he were to be traded, he would want it to be to the New York Knicks. That is not him requesting a trade to the Knicks. That is not him going out there and saying, hey, the Knicks are the team I want to be on right now. That is him saying, if I am not going to be on the Milwaukee Bucks, I'm going to be a New York Knick. He's coming out and giving you conflicting reports. Windhorst is. Shams is coming out here giving reports. It's being reported that Giannis's camp is going to talk to the Chicago Bulls, and the Bulls say, no, we don't want Giannis. We have a great young core that is 500 and sucks at basketball. We love that instead, because the Bulls are the dumbest team in basketball too. If you didn't know, I'm a Bulls fan a little bit too. I don't like them very much because they make me mad.
I grew up in Lake Forest during the 6 titles, so I feel it different as a kid who grew up a Bulls fan. Different era.
I'm a Derrick Rose.
Yeah. Oh man.
I loved me some Derrick Rose.
They had some great games against the Heat.
Some great games. Could never get to there. But we wanted to move on from all the drama that's happening outside of the actual court of basketball. Giannis also went down the day of saying that this whole situation started. He went down with a calf strain.
Brutal.
It was a play that was really weird. He went for a layup, starts running back up court, and then as he's running back up court, just falls to the ground, grabbing his ankle. Immediately thought it was like a torn Achilles or something.
It reminded me of Kevin Durant on the Warriors.
Exactly. So it felt like a situation where it could be more serious. He goes and has the MRI. They say there's no Achilles tear, but he does have a pretty severe calf strain that's going to keep him out for at least 2 to 4 weeks. Doc Rivers yesterday after the game came out and said that it's looking more like the 4-week time period that we're looking at for Giannis Antetokounmpo, which leads me to my question that I wanted to ask you guys. If Giannis is going to be out for this 4-week period, who are you most excited to watch on this Milwaukee Bucks team while Giannis is out? Jack and I were talking about it before. It could be one of the young guards that are on this team that have been balling out really well lately. Kevin Porter Jr., Ryan Rollins. My favorite player, Jericho Sims.
He had a great game
in the last game. Double-double. Takes like jump shots from 2 feet away. It was hilarious, but went in and got him an and one. That was awesome too. I mean, there's a lot of players on this team that I think people should be excited about seeing. If you want to get in on the show, call 414-677-1250. Again, 414-677-1250, 1250. You get on the Nicolay Law Talk and text line, just like my guy KJ from West Allis. KJ, how you doing today, my man?
Good morning, gentlemen. I'm doing well. Thanks for taking my call.
Of course. Thanks for coming on. I always hear you on Wisconsin Sports Daily. I can talk to you during the week. It's nice to get you on Wisconsin Sports Weekend.
Yeah, it's good to talk in. I just happened to be in the car, and I said, hey, I'm going to call Charlie. You know, I always listen, but rarely call in on the weekend. So
I appreciate that, nice. KJ. So now I wanted to ask you, with Giannis Antetokounmpo, I know Sparky's been talking about all the drama. I want to get away from the drama. Which of these players on the court that are playing right now on the Milwaukee Bucks team that you are so excited to watch this moment, even without Giannis, right, KJ? Who are you cheering on the most and most excited to see ball out with Giannis off the court?
Well, Charlie, first of all, I guess I have to add a little drama ingredients because we can't get away from that, right?
Fair enough.
So hopefully, I mean, I'm praying that this is not the last game that we see Giannis in a Bucks uniform. If it is, right now, I kind of feel like the Bucks are at the gates of basketball purgatory, and if he leaves, they're going through the gates. And who knows when they'll be able to recover from that. But in terms of who I'd be excited to watch while he's out, I'd have to say Miles Turner.
Okay.
He's the second highest paid player on the team, right?
Made a big move,
Behind
waive
Giannis.
Damian Lillard and stretch that contract to go and get Miles Turner. Yeah, I get it.
Exactly. Yeah, and it was kind of bizarre last night, Charlie, that during crunch time, Doc Rivers had him on the bench, and they needed some more production from him. He had a pretty decent game, but they're going to have to play him as much as possible. Obviously KPJ, he's been balling out. Rollins is balling out, but I think Miles Turner has to definitely step up his production. As far as point scoring and rebounding at this point,
for sure.
Because everything is predicated around Giannis, right? I mean, the whole offense, the defense,
the whole team
offense,
in general,
rebounding, the whole team. So there's got to be someone that's going to be able to step up. And Miles Turner was, supposedly the guy that could do that.
Exactly.
And so hopefully that happens, Charlie.
That's what you paid him for. Like you said before, he's the second highest paid player on this team. He's a guy that's got to come out. And I think vocally he's been the leader on that bench, but it just on the court, it seems like he's taking that second approach versus being a number one approach. KJ, thank you so much for calling in, my man. Do not be a stranger on the weekends.
You're welcome. Thank you, Charlie.
Right, talk to you later. There is KJ from West Allis. Again, be like KJ. Call us at 414-677-1250. Again, 414-677-1250, 1250. To get down the Nicolay Law Talk and text line, you can also text us on there. We got a lot of great people that come and text us on there as well. Jack, he brings up Miles Turner. I think that's a fair player to look at for this team that you want to see step up. Before the show, you were discussing, like I had mentioned before, the two guards. What do you want to see from a Kevin Porter Jr. and a Ryan Rollins moving forward here without Giannis?
So yeah, we were even reminiscing how CJ McCollum and Dame were when they first came into the league. I kind of see them, and you agreed with me, as those type of two players in that, sure, they're very similar. They both are great shooters, both can score when in droves and very athletic. But I kind of feel like it's two of the same guards. So what I'd like to see is one of those guys pick up a little bit more on the defensive end. I know that might be asking a lot over the next 4 weeks, but I want to, if Ryan Rollins is truly going to be our top guard, I want to be able to see him drop 20 a game and then also guard the number one or number two on that other team and hold them under what their NBA average is per game.
Or in my mind, if Ryan Rollins isn't going to play that type of defense, which, if he's going to score 20 to 25 points a game, sure, do that instead of playing NBA all at defense, because that's a situation where, in my mind, a player like Ryan Rollins, with the expectations that you had for him coming into this team, he's already over exceeding. Don't ask him to do more than what he's already doing right now. Fair enough. Maybe over time, give him like 3 seasons to maybe build that into his repertoire. But at the same time, right now, he's over exceeding. Let's have him do what he does. What I'd like to see is like AJ Green play some defense once in a while. Everybody talked about him before the season that he had worked on his defense. He was going to be more than just
it's all three, shooter. No D.
And some games, like you saw yesterday, because KJ was bringing up that game from last night against the Philadelphia 76ers, which ended up being a 15-point loss for the Milwaukee Bucks. AJ Green goes 0 for 4 in that game, 0 for 4 from 3, and then again doesn't play all that great of defense. This is a situation where, if he's not going to be doing his job, because right now Ryan Rollins is doing his job, KPJ is coming in and doing his job, AJ Green has to find a role where he can fit into this lineup. If he's going to start, if he's going to be a part of this team, like I think Doc Rivers and this front office want him to be, he has to be better on defense. Bobby Portis, man.
Let's get really depressing and get
awesome
into that.
You can score 22 points a game off the bench. Too bad you give up 40 points a game, no matter when else you are on the court.
Plus minus has got to be bad.
Well, and Sparky hates plus minus. I'm a big I love plus minus because I think it says a lot about how a player played in that game, especially if it's way high or way low. Usually, if it's at that 0 mark, you don't get as much of a story. But if he's at a -5+ at beyond that, that's a problem.
To me, it's like slugging or on base percentage. Right. It tells you the story of the full game.
Right. So Bobby Portis last night played 23 minutes, had 22 points, played really well. 9 for 16 from the field, 4 of 9 from three. Only has 4 rebounds. First of all, has 3 turnovers throughout that game, 2 fouls, and a -5 plus minus. Like we're talking, so right at that threshold that I have for players.
Yeah, that's bad.
This is a situation where he's supposed to be, the energy for this team, the face of this team. Everybody loves him. So Bobby, we chant Bobby in the stands.
Oh, he's the mayor.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But then we sit here and watch him play basketball, and he is just, again, always a net negative for this team, it feels like. It's a situation where, yeah, you want to keep him around because he does the scoring really well.
But then there's only 4 guys on defense.
You don't need him to score at this point off the bench.
No.
You have other players that you can find somebody else who can give you 12 points a game off the bench instead of the 20 that he gets.
And that's why you brought in, like our caller said, KJ, you brought in Miles Turner to be a scorer and bring in some defense.
So that you didn't have to play Bobby Portis that much. And then to KJ's point again, you're then playing Bobby Portis that much. You're then putting in Jericho Sims and all these other players instead of a Miles Turner. What are we doing? That doesn't make sense to me. And so far this season, I've been Team Doc. I feel like he's done a really good job. This is a situation where he has to give the right players the right opportunities, and you can't afford to lose anymore without Giannis if you want to keep your job.
Yeah, we've got to get some strings of wins. Otherwise, it's going to look really ugly.
Exactly. It is Wisconsin Sports Weekend live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and we are presented by Apollo Cafe, Milwaukee's Greek superstar flavor, right there on historic Brady Street. When we come back, we're going to dive back into the Green Bay Packers and Chicago Bears for a little bit, discuss Jordan Love's MVP candidacy and what he needs to do in this game to catapult himself to one of those top 2 positions. I'm Charlie Uczen. That's Jack Pembroke. We will be right back. I think the radio gods were mean or trying to sing this to me because they're playing the Bears on Sunday.
Charlie, this is one of my favorite bands ever. So
you're a Beck guy?
Yeah.
This is Beck, right? I'm
Yeah.
not going crazy. All right, interesting. I know this song. I think I know one more song, maybe by him, and that's probably about it. But I like Loser. I think it's a good song. This is Wisconsin Sports Weekend live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. I'm Charlie Uczen. That's Jack Pembroke over there. And we are presented by Apollo Cafe, Milwaukee's Greek superstar flavor, right there on historic Brady Street. We only got about 5 minutes with you guys here before we got to head back into break because we're on this fancy little network that we got here. It's a lot of fun. We got friends all over the place up there in Duluth, Superior, all in Green Bay. This great network that helped us donate all this great money to the 19th annual toy drive for Children's Wisconsin and Robin's Nest. Out there at Blaine's Farm and Fleet in Oak Creek. Again, thank you so much for coming out there and supporting us. It was a great event that Jack and I loved being a part of this past week. We did want to dive into some MVP candidacy out here and the love that our guy Jordan Love has been getting at that. This is a past couple of weeks where you've seen the Packers slowly get more into using Jordan Love's arm in these situational moments that I think you see teams like the Philadelphia Eagles use a Jalen Hurts in, where they work on getting him a lot of throws just to get warmed up in the game within the 10-yard line and then open it up downfield. Versus the Lions, you saw them do it at an extensive rate. I think part of that is you're going up against Dan Campbell. Matt LaFleur has a little bit of a grudge with that and likes to kind of outplay Dan Campbell at his own game. But it's something that I think you could see transition into a game against Ben Johnson, who's very similar to Dan Campbell, likes to be aggressive. Matt LaFleur has heard him talk garbage before the season even started. This is a situation where I think Matt LaFleur could come out here and be aggressive again with a Jordan Love. Jack, if I'm watching Jordan Love this week, what should I expect from the quarterback against the Bears defense in your mind?
I think he's going to throw for over 200 yards. I think he's going to have, I know that the weather doesn't seem like a great throwing game, but I see him having, he and the team seem to have more confidence. He's unstressable. Even in that pocket when it looked tiny, he's able to throw deep down the field, things that we had question marks on him, like how accurate can you be with injuries to the wide receivers and the biggest juggernaut on the offense to Tucker Kraft. How are you going to generate third downs? How are you going to be able to throw? Because sometimes our issue with him was, okay, he's in the red zone now, it's tight. Is he going to be able to throw us into the end zone? And people were a little bit worried, but Christian Watson coming back has really helped, I think, Jordan Love project himself into this MVP race. And he's done it against what people had the Lions win in the NFC North this year. And he's gone 2-0 against that team. He won 2 big games where they went all out on 4th down too to try and beat him. I think this game will tell me how confident Matt LaFleur is in Jordan Love's game. And if they're able to throw when they want to throw downfield, then I can say, yeah, maybe Jordan Love deserves to be an MVP race candidate.
So all season, it started as Dak Prescott's award to lose, and then Drake May became Drake May, and now it's his award to lose, and Matthew Stafford has been in that mix. Jordan Love's kind of sitting at that number 4 spot right now, maybe even number 3 after Dak Prescott's a little bit disappointing performance against the Lions. Jack, what does Jordan Love need in this game real quick to get to that top 2 spot?
A win.
That's it? That's all he needs is a win?
I think if they can maintain the number 1 seed, it's going to be hard to knock him off.
All right. That's fair enough. I think, from my perspective, a win plus another 3+ touchdown performance.
Yeah.
I don't know if the yards really matter that much in my mind, but if you can have 3 touchdowns to no interceptions or 3-1, I think that's a ratio you can live with and can put you ahead of those other guys.
Player of the game.
Especially if Stafford or May doesn't have as great of a week this week. This is Wisconsin Sports Weekend live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. I'm Charlie Uczen, that's Jack Pembroke, and we are presented by Apollo Cafe, Milwaukee's Greek superstar, a star of flavor, right there on historic Brady Street. When we come back, we'll listen to a little bit of Matt Arnold, who joined Steve Sparky Pfeiffer from the 19th annual Toy Drive last Wednesday. It's a great interview you will not want to miss. We will be right back.
Hit the shower. Grab your coffee. And get ready to attack the weekend with Charlie Uczen and Jack Pembroke as they catch you up on everything Wisconsin sports you may have missed this past week. All before you even finish your breakfast. It's Wisconsin Sports Weekend, brought to you by the Apollo Cafe on Brady Street. 25 years of Greek tradition. Enjoy gyros, souvlaki, fresh salads, and the legendary Zeus burger. Dine in, take out, or get it delivered. Apollo Cafe, Milwaukee's Greek superstar of flavor, on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
How we doing, folks? How we doing? My name is Charlie Uczen. Got my guy Jack Pembroke on the other side of the glass there, and you are listening to Wisconsin Sports Weekend, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We are also presented by Apollo Cafe, Milwaukee's Greek superstar flavor, right there on historic Brady Street. Early in the show, you may have heard me mention the toy drive that happened this past week. It was an awesome event. You may have also heard us talk the Chicago Bears going up against the Green Bay Packers on Sunday and what expectations are for each of these teams and who it matters more to. Does it matter the most to both of them? Is this the biggest game of the regular season for both these teams? We also talked about Giannis Antetokounmpo missing time, potentially close to 4 weeks here versus the 2 weeks that were expected at first for Giannis in this situation. Doc Rivers comes out and says it could be 4 weeks. Now the long-term end of this situation for Giannis. We also discussed a little bit Jordan Love's MVP candidacy in this game, in this situation here versus the Chicago Bears. It could be a huge game for Jordan Love and his ability to go and get to this level of a Drake May, a Matthew Stafford, a Dak Prescott at this point. It was an awesome first hour. Now in the second hour, I want to head back to that toy drive where Steve Sparky Pfeiffer was joined by Brewers GM Matt Arnold in an amazing interview where Sparky and Matt Arnold went back and forth discussing what his plans are for the offseason, plans for certain players when it comes to contract extensions. Here you are is the first half of that interview with Sparky and Matt Arnold that we wanted to play back here for you here on Wisconsin Sports Weekend. Take it away, Sparky.
Joining me now is a guy that I'm very, very happy to have here because he is the reason we won an award on this show last year. The award-winning, and I'm not talking about the GM of the Year stuff. No. The WBA award-winning Matt Arnold joins us now, but he's got a fancy title now because he won that award. They're like, if you're going to be a media star, we can't have you leaving for Sparky to go do a talk show. I got to make sure we pay you a little bit more and get you a fancy title. So you're welcome, Matt, on that. Matt Arnold joins us now from the Brewers, president of baseball operations and GM. What's going on, man?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you coming out here, being a part of this. You obviously were out here last year. Was year one. As I mentioned 100 times, we won an award. It was cool. No pressure, but I'm using this again. So let's make sure we do good.
Yeah.
So when you get to this point where you are now as an organization, and I think we've been at this point maybe for a couple of years now, where I don't know how much you listen to sports talk radio or read or whatever else, but you've got a family, so I'm sure they hear about it, right? The want of, hey, man, are we ever going to get to the World Series? Hey, man, we need to increase payroll. How are we ever going to get there by not doing it that way? That at some point, I would imagine, probably gets to you a little bit. And at some point, you're like, man, I hear you. Like, I'm doing the best I can, right? I mean, I'm sure at some point, you're just like, shut up, everybody. I'm trying my best. Do you have moments like that?
Not really. I mean, I'm a fan too. I grew up in the left field bleachers in Oakland Coliseum. I mean, that's where I grew up.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's where
you mean Sacramento.
No, we don't.
You mean Vegas?
We're not talking about that. Don't do that to me. Too soon.
I won't.
Too
Go
soon.
ahead.
No,
I won't.
but no, it's like I've lived here for going over a decade. I feel like I'm a Wisconsin guy.
Yeah.
I really I'm on the Bucks. And that's a whole. I don't want to be a trigger right now for you, but
please don't.
That whole
You're
thing,
supposed to bring me happy and joy.
Like I care about the Bucks a lot. I pull for the Packers, and I mean, like every weekend I'm in like anti-Bears. Like
you go, Matt.
Like I left the Raiders a long time ago.
Good.
I mean, like they moved to Vegas.
Not much left there either.
Right?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So you lost the Raiders and now the A's to Vegas? So you just don't ever go to Vegas again. You're like boycotting Vegas?
We were just there for the GM meetings.
Well, you had to go though.
Yeah, we had to go.
You had no choice.
So we'll go there. But But no, I mean, I care deeply. I hear about it from everybody, and it's because we all care. I mean, it's our families, it's our lives. I mean, we put our heart and soul into this thing, and desperately want to win. And so that is first and foremost on my mind every single day.
So I got conflicting reports here. So I'm just going to put you on the spot because that's why you're here. So I get my guy Harris Turon. I love Harris. That's my guy.
Yeah.
You know Harris.
Love Harris.
Love Harris. I call him Mr. Milwaukee, right?
Sure.
Because Harris Turon was
Good
a
piece.
part owner with Bud Selig back when Bud was here. Then he jumps into this ownership group with Mark. Admirals are floundering. They're in trouble, possibly being gone. I got you. I'll take it. So he takes over that, brings in a bunch of Brewers execs, Doug Melvin, Gord Ash, all those guys. They hop on board with them. So he saves the Admirals. He's like the leading booster for men's college basketball over there, takes care of the coaching salaries and all that stuff over there at Milwaukee. The man is Mr. Milwaukee.
No doubt.
So whenever I have him on, I always like to poke in a Brewers question or two at the end. So at the end of the last time I talked to him a couple weeks ago, I said, Harris, we can spend more money this year. And him and ha, and then at the end, this was before the Woodruff deal. At the end, he goes, yeah, man. Yeah, we're going to be good. I said, okay, fine. Then a few days later, Ken Rosenthal has a piece saying, it doesn't appear like the Brewers are wanting to spend more money, whatever. They may be, having to think of move off Freddie Peralta or something to save money. So, Matt Arnold, what's the definitive word, man? Are we raising payroll this year? Are we staying the same? Do we think we're going to have to go back? What do we got?
I think what I would say is, honestly, I think we got to stay nimble, right? We know who we are.
Mm-hmm.
We're the Brewers. We're not the Dodgers, and there are teams that didn't get in the playoffs that spent a lot more than we did, right? And so doesn't mean it doesn't help, but I don't think it's the only piece of this. But to your point, we got to do something, and I think our fans deserve that. And I think really, I mean, the move that we just made with Brandon Woodruff, bringing him back,
a lot of money
for I think the largest annual salary in the history of the franchise for a pitcher says a lot,
for sure.
You know what I mean? And so I think that shows the commitment that we have to winning here, and that's a huge credit to Mark Attanasio for doing that. And we're bringing back the core of this team too. I mean, that's another exciting piece of this. I mean, we really have an exciting group. We won 97 games last year. Didn't get to Valhalla where we wanted to be,
right?
But we had a really good team last year, and to bring the entire core back plus Woody is really exciting.
Okay, so when the Woodruff thing came about, I said, hey, man, like I would assume before you do this, there's conversations between you and the player's agent as far as, okay, what kind of likelihood are we talking about you actually taking this deal or not? Because draft picks are vital in smaller markets. If I'm going to lose you, but I can get a draft pick and I know you're not going to take this qualifying offer, we'll make it. Fans will think we're in. It's all cool. And then if you don't take it, it's no big deal because I get the pick. How much conversations are there between you and an agent or any organization and an agent before you decide whether or not you're going to do that?
Yeah, quite a few. And I have a really good relationship with Bo McInnes. But, draft picks are draft picks, right? We love those things. But like Woody is Woody. You know what I mean? And so having that guy here and what he meant to this franchise meant more than any kind of draft pick we could have possibly gotten.
Talking with Matt Arnold, president of baseball operations and general manager. So did you know when you offered he was going to take it?
Didn't know, honestly. Yeah, wasn't.
So they didn't give you we're going to sign this.
No, was not sure. Yeah, honestly, we weren't sure what was going to happen there, but thrilled that he took it, for sure. Because I mean, look, this is a guy that has opportunities to go a lot of places, and it's a two-way street, right? He's a chance to go to anywhere he wants. He's that kind of player, and a lot of teams want him. But for him to want to come back here says a lot about him. So, is this a precursor to trying to figure out a 3-year deal with Brandon Woodruff and move this money to where we want to move this money to? Or is this just currently a 1-year deal, and that's where we're at with the agent? Currently 1 year, but always open to conversations. Sure. Had the door wide open for him for a long time. The great thing is, the last year when we talked to Matt Arnold, I was talking to Matt Arnold about celebrating that extension for Jackson Churio, and were you doing shots and were you partying after Churio signed that deal, and how cool was that? Now we fast forward a year, and now we sit here and we see a guy like Jesus Made coming and Pena coming and Mizorowski doing Mizorowski type things and so forth. From the outside looking in, as a fan, I look at that Churio model and go, how many times can I do that? Can I do that 4 times? Can I do that 5 times? Because if you can do that 4 or 5 times and keep a core together for 8 years or 10 years or whatever it is, at that type of number, this puts this team in an unbelievable position of strength going forward. Yeah, I agree with you, and I think, like you said, we've done that in a number of cases with a lot of different guys, right? And so I think that has been part of our business model here, and always open to having those kind of conversations. And look, I mean, when you have a good major league team and a really strong farm system, we're in a really good spot.
Right,
gives us a position of strength to deal with in both directions, honestly. And so, guys work really hard. A credit to our scouts, our player development guys, all the coaches that we have that do a tremendous job with the system there, just getting those guys ready to go. Because Murph has high standards once they get here, and once they get there, they got to be good, And so that's a credit to the coaches that have done a great job the entire way for all those guys.
The other point about this that we talked about, and I don't know where you sit on it. Me personally, as a fan, I'm a little bit hesitant giving 10 years of money or 8 years of money to a pitcher. I feel like there are things that could go wrong to affect that person's career significantly versus a hitter. If I give the same number to, I'm not worrying about blowing out an elbow or blowing out a shoulder or having something horrific happen like Brandon Woodruff when we lose like 2 years. Does that play into it when you start talking about long-term money where you're like, yeah, I'm more lenient to maybe do that with a hitter than maybe I am with a pitcher?
It all depends. I mean, look, we've signed extensions with Freddie. We've signed extensions with Ashby. I mean, we have those on the books for sure, and always open to having those kind of conversations. Of course, there's probably more risk there with pitchers, like you said, just by nature of what they're doing for a living.
Yeah.
But again, I think like it depends on the type of person for sure. Mizorowski
started in AAA. We've heard about Mizorowski coming up, control issues, so forth, but he's got nasty stuff when he's on. He comes out and he dominates. Then he gets hit or whatever by that ball, and then all of a sudden he's out for a little while. And then he comes back, and now all of a sudden the control issues show up a little bit more. And I was saying on the air going into the postseason about whether or not he should be on the playoff roster or not. I said, man, maybe he's just a big game pitcher. Maybe this cat just gets going when everybody's on him. And when he came back from that injury, National eyes weren't on him like they were when he first got here. I mean, we throw no hit in this game. We throw no hit in that game. And everybody's talking about Miz, and he's amped, and he's going, and he's juiced. And then all of a sudden that wasn't there anymore. And all of a sudden he started losing his control a little bit. And what happens? You get to the postseason, and there's the guy that we saw earlier in the year. I was like, man, this is just everybody looking at me. I'm going to go. And to me, as a Brewer fan, that gets me excited about what this could be like going forward.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, when you see him when he's on, I mean, he's unhittable,
Yes, he is.
And it's really special. And for a guy to come up and be an all-star after, 5 or 6 starts, right? I mean, he just came in and walked in the door and blew the doors off. You don't see that very often, and of course, I mean, you can't name every pitcher that has always come up and struggled, right? All these guys go through their ruts. We had it with Woody and Freddie and Corbin and so many guys along the way. But then you have a guy like Miz show up, and then he's dominant. He hits a little bump on the road, and then he comes on for those big games, just like you're saying, Spark. And then you're like, wow, like that's the guy, and he's hopping off the mound and he's fist bumping,
right.
And like that's really awesome.
That's exactly what you see. And they were asking Pat Murphy about that, like, hey, do you want to calm that down? Do you want to temper that enthusiasm down? But this year was the first time where I really felt my age. I'm 50 next year, Matt. I'm 50 next year.
All right.
How long until you're 50?
I got a couple years. I got a few more.
Yeah, you have no gray hair. I have a ton. That's why I wear a stocking cap. But this is my thing. When I heard him talk for the first time after a game, I was like, holy cow, am I old? Because he sounds young to me. My producer, Charlie, who's just a few years out of college, even he goes, man, he sounds young. He is really young sounding. But from a maturity standpoint, on the mound and that type of stuff, I feel like he's more advanced than what he sounds in an interview after the game.
No doubt. Yeah. And again, like he is a young kid. I mean, that's just reality. Well, like you're saying, he definitely is a young guy, and he's got a lot to learn, but man, I mean, he's not afraid, and we saw that back at Crowder when he was pitching there. He was fist pumping and punching out 17 guys, and our scouts were all over him. So a credit to those guys, and a credit to who Miz is, I mean, he wants the ball in big games, and I love that about him.
I always like to face up to when I screw up or say something wrong, and I'm gonna take my lumps for you, Matt Arnold, right now, because I was not a fan of the Quinn Priester deal. I didn't like it. I was like, what are we doing? Like, it didn't work in Pittsburgh. They're ready to give up on him already. Where was he? In Boston or Baltimore, wherever the heck he was. And now he comes to Milwaukee, and I'm like, I love Chris Hook. I think the man should have his own radio show. He's really good. And I was like, man, this here, I don't like this at all. And sure enough, Chris Hook, Priester obviously deserves a lot of credit. I mean, did you see that? When you got him, did you see that happening this year?
I mean, look, he did awesome. All right, I think that's just a great team effort. Starts with Hookie and starts with the kid. I mean, really, like QP did an unbelievable job. I mean, he's such a great kid. Yeah, he's awesome. I mean, yeah, whatever
QP.
you want. Yeah,
no, we'll go with QP.
Great. Yeah,
all right, QP it is.
He's unbelievable, and he's just a great guy to have around. He really cares. Midwest dude that just gets it, and he's a competitor and he wants the ball, and you could see. I remember that game against Chicago, against the Cubs at home, packed crowd. He didn't pitch great, and that was like you could feel it, him coming off the mound, and just the youth there, but learning, and this guy really wanted to get there, and you could feel it. It's just like, and then he just started slowly turning the corner, and it's like, hey, I've been there, I've done that, I failed, I know what that's like. And now I understand what that is, and I have to make an adjustment, and he did. And again, that's just an enormous credit to him.
At what point do GM stop talking to you about when you want a pitcher from them? At what point are they like, dude, we're not talking to you because we know how this is going to work. You're going to get him, he's going to become something, and then we're going to look like the organization that can't develop pitching, while Matt Arnold and Chris Hook and company over there to take our guys, because it seemingly is. My buddy came up with this, and I said, you're crazy. And now I'm totally sold on it. He goes, they turn water into wine every year with pitching. Every year, they transform guys that others may not have had as much success, and you guys always seem to figure it out.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think we have a good team, honestly, of people that are around these guys. We have guys that are identifying, I think, the right guys, hopefully, and then you have the right coaches around them. And I think you get the information, you get the feel. It's a combination. It's not just analytics. It's not just an old school mentality. It's a combination of those things, really, that I certainly believe in. And I think just the balance of those, and the young guys now, they really want information. It's not old school as much as it used to be. It's hey, what, how can I make an adjustment, and little things like that they want to know and they want to learn. But there's a point where that becomes too much, right? And I think we just have to try to find the right balance for every player.
Let me help you. What Matt Arnold's saying, I know for a fact when we used to be down at the ballpark all the time, and we talk to hitting coaches and stuff, I'd be like, "Hey man, so what's going on with this guy?" And we'd just be watching, and be like, "He don't want to talk to me. He said he'll talk to me when he wants help." What's that guy supposed to do?
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do. He's like, so I just sit here and I get blamed for it. He goes, but he won't even talk to me. He says he's been in the league so many years, he'll figure it out himself. Again, right? And as a GM, there's nothing you could do if that's where a player is.
Yeah, they have to want to learn. They have to want to grow. And sometimes you got to hit rock bottom. Not all guys are like that, but certainly there are some of those guys. And I think when you overcook it and you try to give guys, hey, here's everything about you, it's like they're like, whoa, I don't want that. You know what I mean? There is a level of too much, when it comes to information, because now there's just information everywhere.
Correct.
And so it can overload everybody. It's like, hey, let's just keep this simple. And so again, I think our coaches all do a really good job of that.
He is Matt Arnold.
He is Matt Arnold, like Steve Sparky Pfeiffer says right there. And we are Wisconsin Sports Weekend live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. And we also presented by Apollo Cafe, Milwaukee's Greek superstar of flavor, right there on historic Brady Street. That was from this past week, Wednesday, from the 19th annual toy drive for Children's Wisconsin and Robin's Nest out there at Blaine's Farm and Fleet in Oak Creek. It was an awesome event where Steve Sparky Pfeiffer and Wisconsin Sports Daily, 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff. The Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Thunder Nellis were all out live at the broadcast for at least 2 of those days. Sparky was out there for all week. He was awesome. We raised a ton of money, got a ton of toys, 2 layers on the truck to fill up to bring over to Children's Wisconsin. It was an awesome event. Again, thank you to everybody that came out there, all the participants from Children's Wisconsin, all the participants from Robin's Nest, all the carolers and the choir teams that were going out there and singing at Farm and Fleet.
Charlie, they were great. I got like emotional. I thought I was in It's a Wonderful Life. It was an amazing. Yeah, I get touched by music. I can cry. I can cry.
Real men cry, Jack.
I didn't, but they almost brought me a tear. I was like, whoa. I was kind of like, I'm missing my family. I wasn't with them for Thanksgiving, but man, both those places, I think it was Pius and what was the a cappella group from Oak Creek. They're supposed to be like the #1 rated. They like go battle other people. It was amazing. It really was.
That's really cool. So again, thank you to both those teams being out there. Thank you for the team at Blaine's Farm and Fleet for hosting and just being awesome. Thank you to the Food Responders food truck with Steve and Mike Wilding. It was a fantastic food. Again, I ate like 2 boxes of mac and cheese last night.
I gained winter weight for the deep winter months.
Exactly. Sparky says he has a fridge full of leftovers ready to go for the next couple of weeks. Thank you to Jack for being out there working super long hours
Nice.
this past week to help like keep it set up, keep it going. Shout out to all the producers here at the station for having things go smoothly on this side of things. It was an awesome event that really is going to change the lives of a lot of kids, a lot of families, just for one little moment, just that little smile to get them just feeling that holiday spirit that everybody deserves to feel during this time of year. And it's really hard for a lot of those kids, a lot of those families to be here during that time. And this is a way to help change that just a little bit for them that will eventually help change their lives. So again, thank you again to coming out to the 19th annual toy drive for Children's Wisconsin and Robin's Nest. It was an awesome event, and everybody there was awesome, including Matt Arnold joining Sparky on Wisconsin Sports Daily. I'm Charlie Uczen. That is Jack Pembroke right there. When we come back, it'll be time for the Warlocks Locks. there we go. That sounds a little bit more right. For Wisconsin Sports Weekend, welcome in. I am Charlie Uczen. That's Jack Pembroke. We are live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook and presented by Apollo Cafe, Milwaukee's Greek Superstar flavor, right there on historic Brady Street. When the mystical, magical music comes on, you know it is time for Warlock's Locks, where Jack, the Wisconsin Warlock Pembroke, will dive into his magical cheesehead cauldron and pull out 4 cards. Could be football, could be basketball, could be baseball, whatever's in season. We've been doing a little more football lately. And we'll take 4 cards and give you his fantasy prediction for those 4 players. It could be good, it could be bad, it could be pretty neutral. You never know. We'll tell you to start or sit. Jack, why don't we dive into that cauldron and take out the first card?
Okay. I'm hoping this is a good one. I shook it up pretty well. We have the Michael Wilson. That's actually not a bad first card.
So let's head on over to the Arizona Cardinals, where Michael Wilson has been the number 1 wide receiver for the past few weeks for that team, with Marvin Harrison in and out of that lineup. And Trey McBride has always been as consistent as ever. Michael Wilson's been kind of the safety net outside of a Trey McBride so far this season. For the Arizona Cardinals, in a game where we are definitely going to see Jacoby Brissett again at quarterback. It was announced Kyle Murray won't be playing again for the rest of the season. He's got too much COD to play, I guess.
Yeah.
As somebody in our Legion of Doom group chat put it the other
That was
day.
me.
There you go. There you go. He has too much COD to go out there and play. Jack, what are your expectations for Michael Wilson in this upcoming game for the Arizona Cardinals against the LA Rams, a big matchup?
So 2 things. He's still available in some leagues. You can pick him up and flex him, but this man is eating. He gets to get about 7 to 8 targets a game.
Lately, like the past 3 weeks, it's been close to like 12. I've been starting him in one of my fantasy leagues.
He's not a bad start. I think this week, if you have some better wide receivers, you're flexing him, but I think he's a great plug and flex because he's going to give you the Warlocks feeling 16 or 17 in a PPR league. Jacoby Brissett's accurate. He can get the ball to his favorite wide receivers. They have a great rapport. Michael Wilson can beat you at different levels of the route tree. He can beat you in the secondary. He can beat you on shallow crosses. So I think early and often, no Trey Benson coming back at running back, who would have eaten some of those shorter yardage throws. So they're going to have to rely on some ball movement through the wide receivers.
100%. I love that prediction for Michael Wilson. So he is a start for you then, Jack, right?
Start for about 16 or 17 in PPR. Maybe he's going to get you a touchdown, but he's definitely going to give you about 6 or 7 catches for 70 yards.
All right. Who do we have next coming out of the Magic Cauldron there, Mr. Warlock?
Okay. I'm digging deep. Nothing on top. Okay. We were talking about this guy earlier about dropping out of the MVP race, but he is already played. So that's how we
19
do it.
points, not bad.
Yeah.
His performance, 2 interceptions, could be interesting.
That's a Warlock mistake, but it's
all
okay. Baker Mayfield, another quarterback. So he hasn't had the greatest of games the past couple weeks, but I think he's probably not a bad solid start if you don't have a better option.
They are taking on the New Orleans Saints, a matchup that is a little bit easier than other matchups across the NFL so far this season.
Got to feel like that gives you at least a 17 or 18 point cushion for a floor.
You would think so. So Baker Mayfield on the season right now has 2,600 yards even, 19 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. I think kind of the biggest issue with Baker isn't exactly the yardage, but just those touchdown numbers aren't as high as it would be if you had a Mike Evans out there, if you had a Chris Godwin consistently.
You're also probably a little bit ticked off that Emeka Egbuka hasn't been playing up to par. So, I think Baker Mayfield gets his mojo back against the Saints team. So if you don't have a better option at quarterback, I think that's a great plug and stream for the week. And you're going to get somewhere around 18 or 19 points.
So in their first game against New Orleans earlier in the season, Baker Mayfield went 15 for 24 with 152 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Do you expect a better stat line than that in the second bout here?
Yeah. He's got a healthy running back coming back. They're going to be able to move the ball down the field through pass and run. Look for them to run it early, I think, with Bucky Irving. But I think that's going to open up the route tree for his wide receivers late in the game.
I think the one thing you do have to watch out for in that last game against the Saints, the Buccaneers won 23-3. And that's part of the reason Baker Mayfield ends that game with the stat line he does. So in a situation like this where the Saints just are not a very strong team, they go out there and dominate again, Baker Mayfield could be a risky play.
Early Buccaneer touchdowns would hurt you. I think it was a pick return for a pick six in the first play, and then they had some fumble, scoop and score. So yeah, you don't want that happening if you're looking towards the Buccaneers offense to carry you for the day.
Fair enough. Jack, who's third here in Warlock's Lock?
Shaking her up. Okay, what's the crystal cheese ball say? RJ Harvey.
RJ Harvey, this is a guy that I know Sparky has been a little bit disappointed by in his fantasy team. He was expected to maybe have a little bit of a more star role in this offense, I think, going into the season, and just has kind of slowly been put into the lineup here.
To me, it was a smart stash. If you could see that, like, look, with all of those coaching, Sean Payton's running backs, he likes to bring them along later in the season, especially younger guys that are great pass catchers, which is RJ Harvey. Last couple of weeks, he's started to turn it on, though.
It's been a situation where I think you look at a guy like RJ Harvey and say, this is what we saw from a lot of running backs, this kind of integration into a system, especially by a head coach like Sean Payton, who knows how to do that. You saw him do it in New Orleans with an Alvin Kamara. It took him about 6 weeks
Darren
to
Sproles.
Exactly, get integrated into that offense in a very similar role. So this is a situation where I think RJ Harvey, if he can hit his ceiling under a Sean Payton, it is of like an Alvin Kamara style player. And this is about the time Alvin Kamara in his rookie season was really starting to catch fire with that Saints team.
Extra Warlock lock on this. RJ Harvey will win a lot of people playoffs.
All right.
And maybe a title.
All right. I like to hear that.
I think we're going to see him at least give you 16 points in fantasy. So I think he gets you a touchdown. I'm kind of leaning towards a receiving touchdown. That's kind of where he's just really been really good. But he's going to give you yards in bunches. So look to him to give you about 17 or 18 points this week.
Love to hear that. And they are playing the Las Vegas Raiders. Again, another matchup, which I think benefits an RJ Harvey a lot more than a Saints matchup benefits a Baker Mayfield in this situation. Yep. Jack, who's the last up here on the Warlocks Locks?
Okay. Oh, something good. Okay. Oh, you got this guy. Breece Hall.
I do. I've been playing him intermittently with Rico Dowdle on my team personally. If we head on over to the New York Jets and see who they are taking on this week, they're a squad that has been struggling as of recently, especially since their coaching staff just hasn't been able to get on the right track here. They start playing Tyrod Taylor, though, and Tyrod Taylor has been kind of a breath of fresh air for this offense a little bit. They're taking on another struggling team in the Miami Dolphins this weekend. Jack, what are your expectations for a Breece Hall against the Miami Dolphins run defense that is just not exactly the strongest, but they got good linebackers who tackle really well?
He's going to get a lot of opportunities to not only put up yards, but put up touchdowns. I think you actually benefit as Breece Hall, if you're a Breece Hall owner, with Tyrod Taylor, because he's always been accurate in his career. I mean, if a doctor knew how to administer a shot, he'd probably still be a San Diego Charger.
I was such a fan.
Sorry,
of
LA
Buffalo,
Charger.
Man.
Yeah.
With Buffalo, Tyrod Taylor was
They loved him on the Ravens too as a second string quarterback. I think he's accurate. He can still use his legs. So I think you're going to see a lot of dump downs to Breece Hall when stuff gets a little hairy back there. But he's going to be a workload back. I mean, Isaiah Davis is a little banged up, and he hasn't really shown that he's doing anything. So I think it's a really good opportunity for two bad offensive teams, but to have someone in fantasy in a bad offensive game where you're just going to get a lot of touches and opportunity.
In this game, he's going up against what has quietly been one of the best running backs in all of fantasy football this season, Devon Achane.
Another one of your players.
A guy that I think a lot of people haven't been paying attention to because the Dolphins have been such a just boring watch for a majority of the season. Who do you think in this game, where you said both bad offenses, but both bad defenses too at this point in the season, who are you expecting a better game from? Is it just Achane because he has been that good all season?
I just think they have to win through Achane. Miami, their quarterback's not known for deep targeting downfield. It's always been a lot of speed movement up front, especially with their slot guys like the Cheetah himself. But Achane's taken over. As soon as you saw that injury to Tyreek, it was Devon Achane's game to lose. He gets all the touches out of the backfield. He gets all the throws in the short yardage throws where Tua is kind of only good at that. So you're going to see a lot of Devon A-Chain and probably a lot of Breece Hall. So
All right.
I think Devon has a better game than Breece, but that's just because the legal term is duh. And I think you're going to get over 15 to 16 points from Breece Hall. He's going to give you a solid week.
Awesome. A really good list of starts there for the Warlock and Warlock's Locks. I do have one more question for you. This is a personal one from one of my personal fantasy teams, Mr. Warlock. I got on my league where my girlfriend drafted the team, and I've been running it since in her family's fantasy football league. I have Amarian Hampton coming back from injury this week. He looks like he's going to play practice fully yesterday for the LA Chargers.
And he looked good.
I can play him or Jaylen Warren, who has kind of been taking a little bit of a step back here later on in the season as the Steelers have fallen more and more out of the playoff race. Jaylen Warren, or take the risk on Amarian Hampton coming back from the injury?
I think it's okay to take the risk on Omarion because you know that they've been very cautious with bringing him back with a high ankle sprain. He probably could have played, they said 2 weeks ago. That I just saw those drills he was running where he's doing the high steps and then you have to twist immediately on that ankle. And there was no slow movement. There was no kind of softness to it. He looked fresh. So I think you go with a guy who's been a bell cow at the start of the year and kind of showed some flashes of being a league winner. I think you go Omarion over Jaylen Warren. The Steelers, I just feel like, are a hot mess right now. And if it is a hot mess type of game for the Steelers, they're going to throw to Kenneth Gainwell. Jaylen Warren won't be catching those balls.
All right. Love to hear it. That has been Warlock's Locks here on Wisconsin Sports Weekend. A lot of great picks there for the Warlock. Go back, check out your fantasy teams, make your adjustments. This is a big week. A lot of people going into the fantasy football playoffs starting next week in some of their leagues, maybe the week after that. This is the time of year where you want to get those big wins for your team, and Warlock is here to help you out with that. Like I said, it's Wisconsin Sports Weekend. I'm Charlie Uczen. That's Jack Pembroke over there. We are live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and we are presented by Apollo Cafe, Milwaukee's Greek superstar flavor, right there on historic Brady Street. When we come back, it'll be time to crawl. It's an okay song, but it's not the pub crawl song, Jack. This is Welcome into Wisconsin Sports Weekend, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. I am Charlie Uczen. That is Jack Pembroke on the other side of the glass over there. And if this is the first time you've tuned into the Wisconsin Sports Weekend pub crawl, do not worry. I'm here to explain it to you as best as I can, because it's pretty easy. It's where Jack and I go back and forth sharing topics from this week in sports. Could be some really big news from across the league. Could be some small news just from a Milwaukee team. Could be science. Could be history. Whatever we're feeling, whatever's around the world of sports, we want to dive into with you guys. I'll get us started off here, and then Jack will go with his, and we'll keep going back and forth. I'm going to start off talking about the Milwaukee Brewers and their brand new uniforms, which also aren't very brand new. Jack, we've seen them release these kind of powder blue style uniforms.
I'm a powder blue guy. I grew up UNC Chapel Hill. I was a Chapel Hill guy over Duke, so I'm okay with it.
All right, fair enough. I'm a fan of these as well. I think they really kind of go back with that throwback look that they have going on with the hats that they've been doing over the past few years.
Yes.
I did like the City Connect jerseys, but I think these are a nice little replacement to that. Hopefully they come out maybe with a new City Connect jersey. I really liked what the Bulls did with their new ones, or the White Sox did with the Bull style ones. That's what I meant to say. I really like that. I like the Cubs doing the two different ones that they've done, so maybe the Brewers can come up with a new one there too. But these new blue ones, I'm a fan of. Sparky did not like the fact that they are planning on wearing gray pants with them, Jack.
Oh, no, I don't like that. I don't know if I'd...
Would you go the powder blue?
I think you got to commit to the powder blue, or white with the powder blue. I don't think gray.
My big thing is that you can't have three different pieces. So two of the pieces have to be the same. The hats that they're wearing are still the dark blue with the yellow front and the logo on it. I'm not a fan of that.
No.
I prefer you get a
powder blue hat. Come on, what are they doing?
Gray pants.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's actually, so I'm fine with the powder blue on top and then gray on the bottom. I'm fine with that.
Or if you're going to wear navy blue on top, you got to do powder blue on the bottom.
Yeah.
Right? That's, in my opinion, I think that's the right way to go about it. Jack, what do you got up first on your side?
So Jordan Love is up for NFL Charities Walter Payton Award this year for all that he does for the surrounding community. And it's just want to shout out him, because as much as we care about him throwing touchdowns, he actually is a human being who cares about other people and does good work with his money. And that's what Packers fans like to see. That's what I think any Midwestern fan likes to see in their sports athletes, is care about the community you live in and make it a better place while helping people that are less fortunate.
You ask a lot of NFL players. We've had Joe Thomas on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network before. He's a former Walter Payton Man of the Year. You ask a lot of players, that is the most important award you can win in your career. It's MVP is awesome. A championship obviously is going to be up on the shelf. If you win a Walter Payton Man of the Year, that's something that means more than just football. It means that you had an impact outside of this, and you succeeded with your goals in life. Is that it's more than just making an impact on the field, it's making an impact in the community. All the other names, just to go through, because I love this award too as well. Kelvin Beachum of the Cardinals, AJ Terrell Jr. of Atlanta, Derrick Henry of Baltimore, Deion Dawkins of Buffalo, Austin Corbett of Carolina, DJ Moore of Chicago, Ted Karras of Cincinnati, Grant Delpit of Cleveland, Solomon Thomas in Dallas, Garrett Bowles in Denver, DJ Reader in Detroit, Aziz Al-Shahir in Houston, Kenny Moore II in Indianapolis, Logan Cook in Jacksonville, Travis Kelce in Kansas City, Max Crosby in Las Vegas, Cameron Dicker in LA, Kyron Williams, Bradley Chubb, CJ Ham, Hunter Henry, Demario Davis, Bobby Okereke, Quincy Williams, Jordan Mailata, Alex Highsmith, Curtis Robinson, Julian Love, Baker Mayfield, Jeffrey Simmons, and Bobby Wagner are all your nominees for the Walter Payton Man of the Year this year. Congratulations to them. Again, an award that means a lot, and if Jordan Love can go out there and win it, it should mean a lot to him as well. I wanted to dive into the biggest news of the sports world, a little bit of drama this past week.
I have questions.
Lane Kiffin, former head coach of the Ole Miss Rebels over there, decided to up and leave for LSU SEC rival overnight last weekend. This is a situation where I think a lot of people were a little flustered by it. They knew it was going to happen, but he was constantly going out there and calling people names on the field, saying that they're liars, that he would never leave Ole Miss for a job like that. And then he leaves Ole Miss for a job like that. He goes into his press conference, talks about how he doesn't even know the money on the LSU contract. He just wants to coach for that
Charlie,
team.
he just prayed. He prayed about it, and that's what the decision. He was like Rodgers. He went to the dark place, and it just so happens to be he accepted the $100 million deal.
Do you blame him for Like this is legal. He's allowed to do this.
I don't blame him for that. But have you seen all these things online where it's like women that go to the school have been now exposing him to hitting on them? I would be a little ticked if I was an Ole Miss fan and it's like, what the heck was he doing here with our money? And now he's just going to go gallivant off to LSU.
So he brought Ole Miss to this peak, this pinnacle of a team that could potentially be a college football playoff squad. This is a situation where it just feels weird, like that A, they allow this to happen as the NCAA, and B, that as a grown man who's at the top of his job, he's at the top of his career already. You have nowhere to go. Why are you trying to go up when it's only lateral?
Are you surprised though? This is what he did to USC. This
That's
is what
true.
He left Tennessee like it was a bad habit.
Yep. This is a guy that is going to consistently do this. Saw it with like guys like Urban Meyer a lot too. Like if you give him the opportunity to ditch for something even remotely a little bit better, they'll do it.
He's a new job merchant, new contract merchant.
You hate to see it. You hate to see it. Jack, what do you got up next?
So up next, we've got shout outs to some of our women's sports around the state. UW Oshkosh women's volleyball in the NCAA title tonight at 5 in Illinois. So let's tighten up. Let's get a Titans win.
Awesome.
We'd love to see they're a powerhouse. So let's see a W for that. And then we would be remiss to not talk about the UW Badgers women's team beating UNC Chapel Hill 3-0 to advance to the Sweet 16. So I know this. My dad's a big UW volleyball fan. They are a powerhouse program. So we'd like to see them get deeper into the tournament and maybe win another title.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Marquette advanced. I don't know if they're in the NCAA tournament or the one of the other tournaments that they're in, but I'm pretty sure they advanced to the Sweet 16 of their respective tournament.
I think it's the same. I think it's the NCAA tournament.
So Marquette and UW Badgers volleyball in the NCAA Sweet 16. That's really cool. Again, like we talked about, UW volleyball has been a powerhouse for a while now. My sister is a huge fan of them. My mom's a huge fan of them. So it's been a team that I've been paying attention to. So good luck out there to the Badgers and to the Golden Eagles and to the Titans.
Roof.
Love to hear it. All right, last up for me on the pub crawl here, I'm going to head over to college football, where I just wanted to give you guys the latest college football playoff picture. If you are not informed on that, Ohio State, Indiana, and Georgia are still the top 3 seeds, with Texas Tech in at that number 4 right now. Oregon, followed by Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin's former team, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Alabama, and Notre Dame round out the top 10. And then the conference champions for the smaller non-power conferences will get the 11th and 12th seed. There's been a lot of drama surrounding Notre Dame and Miami right now, and Miami has won that head-to-head matchup. It's a situation where I think this could be pretty exciting at the end of the year, exactly what the NCAA wants in a situation like this. Jack, last up on your pub crawl here.
Okay, we're going to get into my conspiracy theories about the FIFA World Cup and how blatantly obvious it was rigged. Donald Trump, the U.S. president, picked the U.S. out of the hat. The Mexican president picked Mexico out of the hat. And, just to, get the whole NAFTA deal together there for the North American Federations of Trade Association up there, Canada picked Canada.
Yeah, that seems a little unlikely that all 3 countries would pick themselves.
And what do you know? These are the 3 countries hosting games for the FIFA World Cup.
Wow.
Weird.
Shocker. That doesn't seem like they planned that out at all, Jack. That's hilarious. FIFA World Cup should be a lot of fun. Once again, always a huge event. They had a giant ceremony the other day that was absurd in my mind. It was just crazy how big and how extravagant it was.
Look out for Troy Parrott and Ireland, though. That's my squad. That's the Cinderella story you need to watch.
Usually, I'm a Nigeria fan when it comes to
World Cup, too. Super Eagles.
They have the coolest, is it kits? Is that
what
they're called?
Yes, there you go.
The best kits. Awesome.
They do have the best kids.
It is Wisconsin Sports Weekend. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Charlie Uczen. That's Jack Pembroke. We are live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network Studios, powered by Potawatomi Sportsbook, and presented by Apollo Cafe, Milwaukee's Greek superstar flavor, right there on historic Brady Street. Tune in tomorrow after the Packers game for the Green Bay football postgame show with Sparky Pfeiffer and Tommy Wirtz, live right after the game ends or starting at 6:30, whichever comes first there. I'm Charlie Uczen. That's Jack Pembroke. Thanks for listening, guys.